We see the world not as it is, but how we are. I had a realization recently that I have to share with you. So last Friday was one of those days where I was at my desk all day. Figured I would take a break, walk across the street, pick up some lunch, stretch my legs. So I make my way out of the building, down the walkway, and to my right, there's this little, a turf area where dog owners can run around with their dogs. And I glance over, and I see truly one of the most picturesque moments in time I think I've ever seen. Right? So in the center of this little turf field, there's a bench. And on the bench, there's a man sitting down. He was the only person there. He's holding his phone and watching something on it or scrolling, whatever he's doing, just totally immersed in whatever's on the screen. And about 5 feet in front of him is this little dog or puppy, right, with a ball at his feet. And he's sitting there looking up at the man that I obviously presume is the owner. And the puppy's eyes are just locked in, fixated on the man. And I wanted to take a picture so bad. If it wasn't weird and intrusive, I would have. But it just seemed so symbolic to the point where it felt staged. And I probably saw it for about 10 seconds as I passed by. Just kept thinking, man, play with the dog. What are you doing? How could you be out there with a puppy that seems so excited and full of life and just happy to be around you, and you're on a bench wasting the time, right? I'd be running all over the place. Then my mind flashed back to something that a friend of mine pointed out to me. And we have kind of a tough love relationship. It's great. It's very honest. And at some point we were talking about some public situation or current event. And I said to him kind of sarcastically, man, I'm not sure if I pity the guy or admire him. And my friend, smiled and goes, you're talking about yourself, right? And just remember how hard-hitting that was. It's like, of course, when you put it that way, the world is a projection of ourselves. In fact, the easiest way to learn about someone is to listen to the advice they give and the comments they make. It's truly, them unveiling themselves to the world in real time. Right? I've certainly got some work to do on myself as I grow, but that's life. I think we all do. But back to the pup, because I couldn't stop thinking about that little guy and his picturesque, situation. The next day I was on a walk and it dawned on me, perhaps it bothered me so much because I placed myself in that man's shoes and I felt the pain of wasting away the things that are most precious, exciting or meaningful, right? The things that maybe they'd wait, but not forever. And that perceived loss, even though momentary, right? Silly even in real time, it just resonated with me. I felt it. I'm sitting on that bench now. And maybe what's looking up at me isn't a puppy. Maybe it's opportunity or adventure or more time with loved ones. The deeply rooted desire to be bolder, to live more free, to be more careless in some respects. Perhaps it hurt because I felt the tension that lived between the dog's eyes and his master. And I knew that by a single act of putting down the phone and standing up, everyone wins. The puppy's happy as can be. He gets to run around and be a part of that, enjoy himself, right? So why doesn't he? What am I waiting for? What is he waiting for? Or same thing, ultimately. Life is short, painfully so. And look, I know that's a cliche. I know it and you know it. But that doesn't mean it's not weird to see new wrinkles on my face when I look in the mirror. Or the fact that if I don't hit the sauna and recover these days after a workout, my left shoulder throws a tantrum so extreme that it costs me a week of physical activity. Right? To know is different than to actually experience. And there's a pull to experience more, to move faster, to put the distraction down, whether it be fear or comfort, and just run through life. Because life wants you to. It wants more of your time. It wants your love and your energy. It wants you to put down your excuses and run through fields and dive into oceans. It wants you to feel the uncertainty of being lost and the helplessness of true exhaustion. It's waiting on you, not the inverse. You know, one thing I've gotten better about as I write these scripts and kind of share my thoughts on each episode, it is caring a bit less. You know, not too long ago, I would think maybe overly critically as I wrote. Like, how easy would this thought be to tear down? I'd ask myself, you know, all of this about a dog in a dog park, talk about a stretch. And these thoughts, while they didn't necessarily derail me, sometimes lead to a watered down outcome, right? The lowest common denominator so that I could be for everyone. It's tactical, I'd lie to myself, but I'm not for everyone. I can't be, and neither can you. The beautiful journey you're on is yours. It's not for the people who try to tear you down. And funny enough, it's not for the people who love you either. It's for you. It's yours. It's you sitting on that bench, scrolling, perhaps not valuing time or the opportunity to the extent you should. It's you that life is staring up at, waiting for that next adventure. It's you not quite opening yourself up to the love and beauty that exists in the world. You have your thing, just like I have my thing. And whatever the thing is, don't waste it. Not anymore. Stand up and throw the puppy the damn ball. I've been spending a lot of time in nature this summer. And one thing that became quickly apparent when I'm running, hiking, rucking, or filming, food can easily become an afterthought. You either end up paying way too much for something mediocre, or you grab whatever's convenient and just kind of hope for the best. But this summer, I found a different solution that I want to talk to you about, and that's Huel Black Edition. I've talked a little bit about it in the past, getting creative with it, you know, using it for French toast in the morning if I have some time. But it's really been the fuel behind my outdoor summer adventures. It mixes really well with water and milk in about 30 seconds, provides 40 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. And what I like most is that it's not just a drink on top of a meal, it's a complete meal designed to replace one, which makes life a lot easier when I'm traveling or spending the full day out on the trail. And when I'm really in a hurry, I'll grab one of their ready-to-drink bottles, which cost less than $5, which is way better than paying $30 for a meal out on the road. So if that sounds like something you'd use, check out Huel, that's Huel. New customers can get 15% off online with my code Eddie at Huel.com/Eddie. That's Huel.com/Eddie. Thanks to Huel for partnering with and supporting the podcast. Your future is built on the promises you keep to yourself. I want to, for a second time, revisit my recent rucking of the MS-150 in Texas, where a few others and I put weight on our backs and trekked the same course that's intended to be a bike race. And it was definitely, hands down, the most challenging 4 days of my life. And so, as you can imagine, as soon as I crossed that finish line and returned back to quote-unquote normalcy, left me with a lot to think about. In fact, there are so many takeaways I could go on forever. But out of respect for the less is more principle, I've cut it down to what I believe to be most important. And so, to set the scene, as brisk walking turned into slow walking to limping, and limping into more of a chafed duck walk. Classic case of me watching the footage back, by the way, and thinking, man, I felt like I looked so much cooler in my head. But hey, it was a game of however you can finish, right? Just get your body over the line, drag it there. It's not about looking pretty, it's about finishing the thing. And over the course of the venture, we'll call it, there were multiple times where a camera was put in front of me and I was asked, why? Why are you doing this? As far as questions go, that's, hey, fair. Well, there were a handful of reasons. But the one that mattered the most to me revolved around promises. And not promises made to others, but the ones we make to ourselves. See, lately, in full transparency, I've been somewhat letting myself down. Not all at once or spectacularly, but slowly, subtly, a sort of death by 1,000 cuts. You know that feeling when you tell yourself you're gonna do something, where you get a moment of inspiration and make big plans, and then you just don't. You don't do anything. It's like, Eddie, you're so much happier when you wake up at 5 and go on a walk. You know that. That's irrefutable. Do it. And then the morning would come around and my brain would go, you're training so hard though. Your body could use the sleep, man. Be practical. Right? Snooze. And the morning goes by. Or I'm going to test this new idea, this new concept, and then I don't really have time to experiment right now. I have a system and a routine, and you get the idea. It leaves this little feeling in the pit of your stomach where you know that you've let yourself down. And I didn't like that chapter. I knew I was better. I knew I was capable of more. If only I could pull myself out of the cycle of lying to myself, right? If only I could remind myself who the hell I am. And what a better way than to do something that 99% of the world wouldn't do. Not because they couldn't, but because they wouldn't. What better a way than to push through some of the most extreme discomfort I've ever faced? See, walking 150 miles with a weighted vest on your back, it simplifies things dramatically. Life becomes nothing more than, hey, you're at point A, get to point B, period, that's all. No nuance, no complexities. You go until you arrive. And it was like upon starting, everything snapped into place. My focus, my self-belief, my whole being behind a singular mission. It didn't matter if or when people around me stopped. It didn't matter if it was hot or cold or sunny or rainy. It didn't matter if the blisters or chafing or stiff legs had a say. I had this certainty that, aside from an unforeseen monumental injury, God forbid, I knew I would finish. I would crawl if I had to. And please hear me, I'm not saying this to sound cool, right? That's the beauty. Anyone can sign their name on that dotted line. But I guess the part that lit me up is the notion that few ever would. See, sometimes we have to remind ourselves who we are. We have to renew vows to the person looking back at us in the mirror. And that's how I saw this mission. Nothing at home is harder than this, Eddie. Nothing is this painful. Nothing is this long and agonizing. Yet here you are in this arena, a pursuit completely voluntary. An unofficial march through endless back roads resembling some sort of beautiful, scenic hell. And you're stepping up and leading yourself through it. To an obtainable greatness. See, waking up at 5 is easier than this. Not scrolling social media is easier than this. Completing the things you wrote down on your daily task list is easier than this. So the problem is not your drive. It's not your capability or desire. That fire's still in there. My friend, you have it. It's the simplification of identifying what you love and creating your life so that you are embarking upon the pursuit of that North Star. Highlighting the things that matter and committing to them. It's not an easy march, but it's a simple one. It reminded me that I am, in fact, the kind of person who keeps those promises to himself. I just needed to feel it again, to taste what that was like. If, as the saying goes, people follow through on who they believe themselves to be, I needed to rediscover the hero that somehow fell into the background along the way. And sitting here now, I can tell you truthfully, I did. So if you're listening, I hope you hear me. I hope you recognize that there exists a warrior in you, a hero, a leader, the person you're capable of becoming. Perhaps you just need to remind yourself, to reconfirm it to yourself. Does it need to be a 150-mile ruck? No, not even close. It can be anything that pulls you out of your comfort zone. Anything that creates some unease, that places you in an arena with a formidable adversary for you to conquer. Nothing is quite like stepping out and showing yourself who you are. Becoming someone who doesn't hide, but slays the dragons before them. If you can keep your composure there, you have all the proof in the world that you can keep the little promises you make as well. And the ones who keep the promises they make to themselves own the future. I had a friend reach out last month and pitch an idea. Eddie, there's a 150-mile bike race called the MS 150. It's happening right here in Texas near Houston. But Eddie, instead of cycling it, what if we rucked it? And for those who don't know, rucking is essentially walking with a weighted vest or backpack on. He continued, so it takes the bikers 2 days. But if we leave a few days before them, we'll then have 4 days to cross the finish line at the same time. I did the math, slightly less than 40 miles a day. It's a lot. We laughed. No one's done it before. We laughed again. Crazy. But ultimately we agreed. Partially because he's an amazing dude, and partially because I know that the best experiences of my life have all been born of seemingly spontaneous ideas with people I cared about that pushed me further than I knew I could go. We told people, they laughed and said it was crazy. We smiled and agreed. Sure enough, the day arrived. We were accompanied by a mutual friend, making it 3 of us rucking total, as well as our significant others who were alongside us the entire time in a Bronco filled with food, drinks, and medical supplies. As we started out, we laughed. Boys, this is crazy. But just like it takes a fraction of a second to realize your hand is on a burning stove, we weren't really sure what we'd gotten ourselves into. Day one was fun, actually. At least most of it. Setting down the camera, walking past it to get those artsy passing by shots. Close-ups of flowers and trees blowing in the wind. The three of us reminiscing about old stories, lessons, some dad jokes, even some friendly debate, which I'm sorry, but you guys cannot convince me that we haven't been to the moon. As much as it drives all my buddies crazy, I won't bend. But onward we marched. And erosion is subtle, like waves washing up on the beach. Except it was the erosion of mind and body. Hot spots under the feet materialized, becoming blisters, becoming open blisters. The sun beaming down began to take its toll. And as it set, we realized we still had 10 miles and it was just day one. It was now evident that we had entered the cage with the beast we underestimated. And for context, I've run quite a few ultra-distance races in my life. Done the Keys 100 a few times, as well as unofficially twice. Ran across Arizona, Texas. I've run a few halves. The endurance space is not new to me. This type of pain was not new to me. And still, this was the hardest thing I've ever done, by far. To move consistently with weight, just a different ballgame. We're crazy, man, I'd say. Crazy, Keely would reply with a laugh. Eventually we wrapped up, collapsed into the Jeep where the girls met us with blankets and electrolytes. Crazy, they'd say. You guys are nuts. Day two was even harder. And I won't get into every little detail here, right? But swollen feet, blisters, chafing, overall fatigue, you get the idea. Each day seemed to get harder and harder until we approached day 4, the final day. Let's fast forward. It's 2 a.m., 2 hours to go, on a freeway that stretched the entire way to the finish line at College Station. My situation was so bad I was basically walking bow-legged like a cowboy. Step, 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 step. I could focus on nothing big picture, nothing else. And then somehow, like all things, it just ends. Even the things you didn't think ever would. And the second that finish line was in front of us, there was a monumental relief, to the point that all I could do was cry. And I mean weep like a baby, delusional, exhausted, and overtaken by the understanding that I just did the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Despite the lightning bolts I was feeling pushing up my body, I was basking in a euphoria that money cannot buy. It's virtually unobtainable without a march of this magnitude. I was higher than I'd ever been immediately after being lower than I'd ever been. Like an elevator that takes you from the depths of Death Valley to the highest point of Everest. What is this feeling? I started imagining a world where I never felt this, where I gave into the pain on day 2, or bowed down to the raw skin or swollen, blistered feet I was working with earlier that day. That was crazy, we said to each other one more time. But as we got into the Bronco and drove towards the hotel at 4:30 that morning, looking out the window, I started to think, maybe it wasn't crazy. Maybe it wasn't crazy at all. Maybe it was necessary. Absolutely necessary. Maybe, just maybe, it was everything. A little piece of life reserved for a small few. Reserved for a select group. A gold mine, gate-kept by nothing other than the question, how bad do you want it? Crazy, on the other hand, well, I think that's more a story of never pushing yourself to that feeling of ecstasy, of pride. Perhaps crazy is having a Ferrari in your garage and never taking it for a spin, never pushing the pedal to the floor. Crazy is being so scared over breaking up with normalcy that there's never that little seed of doubt in your stomach, that fragment of fear that resistance, where you know you're strong, but you also know the Goliath before you is no slouch. Crazy is never drawing your sword and confronting him. I couldn't stop playing it back in my mind. Was it stupid, or did it remind me that I'm alive? Was it insane, or did it propel me closer to the life I want most? Was it pointless, or was it the point entirely? We'd accidentally chosen the path that we needed most. What we'd done is stumbled into the very thing that makes life worth living. And man, to look back and realize how easily we could have said no, missed it. How crazy. Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change himself. This was written by Leo Tolstoy in reference to people's proclivity to point out at the world and project blame rather than to point in at themselves and ask, why? What can I do? Right? How can I be better? Which, when you think about it, is basically a shark forfeiting its bite. Right, or a bird giving up its wings. Our personal agency is without a doubt our superpower. Yet, from my vantage point, sometimes feels like we're walking away from that superpower a tiny step at a time. Little by little, day by day, we're allowing greatness to fade while bringing about the death of the hero. And well, that's a pretty big claim. What could I possibly mean by this? It's funny, when people ask me what I'm most proud of, my mind pretty quickly goes to my work, the brand that I've dedicated the last almost decade to building. But I don't think that's right. I think it's a product of my answer, but it's not my answer. What I'm most proud of is chipping away at the monster that is the victim mentality. My default when things went wrong for so long was to feel bad for myself. It was easier to be the victim and sulk than it was to keep taking the hits. It's like a cheat code. When you can just bask in your sorrow and hate the world, you don't have to do anything. It's like a giant ibuprofen for the discomfort that is life. But it relieves the symptom, not the cause. And to understand, to overcome this worldview is like being gifted with a new pair of eyes. And what I learned was that self-pity, it gets you nothing. It leaves you resentful, disappointed, envious, wandering down a path that is not your own. What I learned was that my story needed a hero. That's why as I grew, I spoke about the power and the beauty of doing the difficult thing. Running in the rain, chasing the metaphorical fireflies, taking the last train home. See, until you immerse yourself into that vast unknown, you stay in a cell of your own making. You build walls of limitation and you exist entirely within them. And as time has progressed, I look back, there are two things worth mentioning. One is that we find life's meaning in the difficult thing. And two, there is a fundamental misunderstanding and even from time to time contempt for what the difficult thing means, for those who speak of the difficult thing as though hard truths are in some way inconsiderate. Like diverging from the comfort of one's feelings implies a lack of empathy.
But that's wrong. If you love someone, if you care about someone, if you care about yourself, you say what is true. And what is true is that the shelter and the temporary comfort of victimhood is a high not worth the withdrawal, not worth the suffering. It got me nowhere, it will get you nowhere, and that is a reality that will never cease to be true. We live in a world that's been shaped entirely by those who found the courage to do the difficult thing. Everything around us is a product of the courageous decision to take the now and bend it. And that means taking hits. It means being criticized. It means by definition you are choosing to be uncommon. You're choosing to change things, yourself, and by default the world around you. There's nothing wrong with being common. Quitting is relatable. Failure is relatable. Falling short is relatable. We're all human and we've all been there. But these stock features of humanity, they are not worth celebrating. We don't put on pedestals the familiar. No, we put on pedestals the times that we've reshaped the familiar. And a world of participation trophies is a world that has disincentivized that which makes life worth living. It cripples the very pursuit that ignites the soul, a push towards the extraordinary. It's time we resurrect the hero. See through the facade of short-term comfort that leads to long-term emptiness. In a world where attention is currency, it's time we acknowledge the payment we receive when we play victim buys only despair. Sure, we're flawed. That will always be true, but we are capable of manufacturing greatness. We're capable of capturing hearts and captivating minds. If you could only see within yourself that story unwritten, if you could feel the greatness that awaits, the roads to be traveled and mountains to be climbed, there would be no debate. There'd be no hesitation about that march to the belly of the beast. If only to show that our demons exist solely where we allow them to. Resurrect the hero. Fight those battles that light you up. Blaze your trail through the valley of darkness. Take that path unknown to the common man, unseen to those who live within the confines of what is. Resurrect that hero, because you need you, because the world needs you. There's no time to be down or sad or dwell on the mistakes of yesterday. There's too much on the line to pretend that settling was the plan all along, or to point at the obstacles with disdain and hatred while life rotates around you. No, resurrect the hero. Resurrect your answer. Resurrect the person you were meant to be. It may not be simple or intuitive. It may cause you to give more than you knew you had. It may not be easy. But my friend, easy never changed the world.